City Council to order. Today is Monday, November 21st, 2022. We start with the invocation from St. Mary's Catholic Church.
Let us pray. Father God, most holy, creator of all that is good, creator of all here present, be in our midst tonight. Send your Spirit into our hearts so that we might uphold justice, that we might speak words of charity, and that we might seek out the common good of the greater Oskaloosa community. Be in this chamber and among all who gather here, and I make this prayer in the beautiful name of Christ Jesus the Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Almond. Here. Burnett.
Here.
Caligari.
Here.
Comfort.
Here.
Drost.
Here.
Hermson. Here. Ocean. Here.
Okay. First item up is the opportunity for community comments. This item is reserved to receive comments from the community for concerns whether or not they're included on the current agenda. The community is encouraged to speak before the mayor and city council. Asked to keep statements brief, time limited to no more than 3 minutes. Any questions are to be asked of the city staff, the council members, or the mayor prior to speaking to the full council, so concerns can be properly researched and perhaps answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the mayor and city council only. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. Next up is the consent agenda. These are all items that are routine in nature, and they are enacted by one motion. I did want to bring the council's attention to item E, which is a motion reappointing representatives to the Mahaska County Solid Waste Management Commission and Recycling Committee. And so Janet Vanderbeek, Randy Veldhuisen, Steve Phillips, Alvin Meppelink, and myself are all scheduled for appointment. Also item F, this would be to consider a motion appointing a representative to the Civil Service Commission. Beverly Hutchinson has applied for that, and I'm recommending appointment. And then items H, I, and J are all public hearings that are going to be scheduled for December 19th of 2022. Item H is a special assessment against private property for weed cutting. Item I is a special assessment for nuisance abatement at 1606 A Avenue East. And item J is setting the public hearing for a special assessment for nuisance abatement of 407 South A. So we wanted you to be aware of that. Do we have a motion of support for this consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Caligari.
Yes.
Comfort.
Yes.
Drost.
Yes.
Hermson.
Yes.
Ocean.
Yes.
Almond.
Yes.
Burnett.
Yes.
Okay. It gets us through the consent agenda. Now the regular agenda. Item A is a resolution levying a special assessment against private property for weed cutting. And so in Exhibit A, you can see what we're talking about. Certified notices were sent to each property owner, and a notice was published in the Oskaloosa Herald. If approved, property owners have 30 days from the time of filing with the Mahaska County Treasurer to pay for the weed cutting in the city clerk's office. After 30 days, it's assessed to their property taxes with a payment schedule at 9% interest. We have two properties here. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion of support for this resolution?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Comfort.
Yes.
Drost.
Yes.
Hermson.
Yes.
Ocean.
Yes.
Almond.
Yes.
Burnett.
Yes.
Caligari.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item B is to consider a resolution approving vacation and sale of a 16.5-foot wide section of the north-south alley that's adjacent to 546 9th Avenue East. So staff received the alley vacay request from Oskaloosa Food Products. They own the property located at 546 9th Avenue East. And so the subject alley is located in a limited industrial, which is LI zoning district. City staff conducted a survey of public property owners with direct access to the alley and utility companies. 4 were surveyed, of which 2 responses received. One of the responses indicated they did not want the alley vacated, as they use the alley to access their garage at the back of the property. The other response was not opposed. Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this request at their meeting on November 8th of 2022 and recommended by 0 approve, 6 deny to deny the alley vacate and sale. So I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion regarding this resolution?
I'll make a motion to deny the request.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call.
Drost,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Ocean,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Caligari,
Yes.
Comfort.
Yes.
Okay. Compliments to the council. When you're voting on a denial, it's real easy to get the yeses and nos mixed up. Okay, item C is to consider a resolution adopting the Plan OSKI. It's the comprehensive plan for the city of Oskaloosa. So on behalf of the Project Advisory Committee and the Planning and Zoning Commission, staff is pleased to present for consideration the final draft of Plan OSKI, a comprehensive plan for Oskaloosa, Iowa that's been prepared by RDG Planning and Design. The comprehensive plan update project kicked off in October of 2021. A 13-member project advisory committee, now down to 10 members, contributed their time and expertise to the plan's preparation over the prior year and has voiced its support for adoption. The committee includes volunteers of city-county residents, 2 planning and zoning commissioners, and a city council member, all listed on the inside cover of the plan. The planning process included a series of surveys, stakeholder listening sessions, a community roundtable, design studios, pop-up events, and open houses for public engagement. The plan includes a substantial amount of public input and should be viewed as the community's vision for growth and development over the next 10 to 20 years. If adopted, it replaces and succeeds 2 previous city plans. First, the Oskaloosa Plan, a comprehensive plan for the city of Oskaloosa that was prepared by Renaissance Design Group, Crows, Gardner, Schukert, and dated March 6th of 2000. That's currently the official plan. And Comprehensive Plan and Policies Report, City of Oskaloosa, Iowa, that was prepared by Veenstra and Kim engineers and planners and dated August of 1984. As required by Section 2.56.120 of the Oskaloosa Municipal Code, Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing at their November 8th meeting. 2 advisory committee members and 1 resident spoke in favor of the plan and its adoption. Following the hearing, the commission voted unanimously to adopt the plan and recommend the same to the city council. An attested copy of the commission's resolution is attached and in the packet. So staff recommends that the council open the public hearing, receive any remaining public comments, close the hearing, and then vote to approve. And so at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak to the comprehensive plan?
Hello, my name is Brant Bowman. I'm a resident here, and I am theater director at William Penn, and I was on the Comprehensive Planning Committee, and I just want to speak positively about the plan. I especially appreciate the parts of the plan that look at the arts and culture sector as a driver of economic development into the future. And there's also really, I think, a really forward-thinking way to transform the recreational and transportation, with High Avenue becoming a kind of a bike and pedestrian place where we could also have some of the faces, sculptures on that area. It could be a really beautiful place that Oski becomes known for. So I was just really proud of the way it looks, and would just hope everybody gets a chance to look through it and supports the plan.
Thank you, Brent.
Hi everyone, I'm Allison McGuire. I'm an Oskaloosa resident, and I'm here on behalf of the Arts and Culture Roundtable, specifically for groups like the George Daly Auditorium and the Oskaloosa Community Theater. And I just want to echo what Brant was saying about the overall comprehensive plan. I've been a part of several of these planning processes over the past couple of years, and it seems like the process that was led by RDG was really an intensive community listening process, and I really appreciate that. I know that we had 10 to 15 members from the Arts and Culture Roundtable at some of the community listening sessions. We were at the unveiling earlier this summer, and it was just really great to have the staff at RDG as well as the city staff so willing to talk with our group as we worked with them. So just want to give my support and say that it was a great planning process, and I really look forward to the community spirit section of the plan and what this can do as a guiding force for the arts and culture community in the city of Oskaloosa. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would care to speak tonight? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion of support for this resolution adopting Plan Oski?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Well squeaked.
Choked you up a little bit, didn't it?
Oh, weak. I can't get rid of it. I can't get rid of it. Sorry.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hermsen,
Yes.
Ocean,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Comfort,
Yes.
Drost.
Yes.
That passes. Okay, takes us to item D. This is to consider a resolution entering into a contract for the purchase of a fire pumper truck and an amendment to the CIP. So the fire department's current pumper truck has been in service for 22 plus years, and over the life expense, which is over its life expectancy of 20 years. Truck is scheduled for replacement in fiscal year 2024, budgeted for $690,000. CIP number 1050-10. With rising costs, a new truck is now estimated at approximately $800,000 and has extended lead times. So a demonstration pumper truck is available for immediate delivery for an amount under the planned 2024 budget. The truck does require a few modifications to meet all fire department specifications, and it will add 2 to 3 months for the delivery time to get that done. The current pumper truck would move to reserve status, and so staff is recommending that the City Council approve the resolution to get into the contract for the purchase of the fire pumper truck. Okay, Chief, do you care to comment on this?
You just read it.
Okay. As if you would have written it, perhaps.
So we have been working on the CIP program, BS in Fort Scott. So before I got here, several years. I did bring Shane Brandon with me. Shane has been instrumental on the fire department side, getting numbers and looking at the different costs of the trucks. And as you did hear, as with everything else, the past 2 years we've seen some significant price increases in the purchase prices of the trucks, and the lead time, what used to be a year is now 2 years. When you order that truck, you're not going to get it for 2 years. So if we did stay with the CIP fiscal year 24, we'd be looking at a 26 year or 2026 delivery if we were lucky and everything went as planned. The demo trucks are obviously something the manufacturers build. They take around to conventions and fire shows, and we were just fortunate that we looked at one truck on Veterans Day, which was Friday, and Shane took some pictures of it, sent it out to the guys. We had a reserve member at a fire show in Des Moines, and the truck that we are proposing to you tonight was actually there, and he sent Shane a message and said, "That's not a fire truck. This is a fire truck." So we called them and we got that truck down here, and really when we looked at both trucks, it was, there was a big difference. The first truck, I almost want to call it a generic fire truck. It was a fire truck, but it did not have even close to what we needed. When we spec out a truck, obviously from day one and order it, it's for what we need as the city of Oskaloosa when we put that out to do the work here in Oskaloosa. And then when you start looking at demo trucks, you look at something that's going to most closely meet what you would spec, and this truck did that very well for us. The trucks are obviously, they're not making anything smaller. This truck's a little bigger than our current pumper that will go to reserve status, but it's got a lot more storage. The compartments up on top are actually coffin on both sides that will allow us to bring more stuff to the scene, whereas right now, if we get called for specialized rescue of certain types, we're gonna have to scramble in the department to get that equipment on a different truck and bring that along with the engine. This will allow us to put a lot of that equipment in this truck. And as we said earlier, the demo trucks are at a greatly reduced price. So with the modifications that we're looking at for this truck, we'd be looking at right at $600,000. We currently, having talked with Amy and them all, we currently have $366,000 set aside for the fire truck project, and I believe the rest would come out of the
Franchise fees.
franchise fee to pay the truck off and not have to worry about a lease program and paying interest. So
Okay.
I open it up to your questions.
Beyond the storage, what are the other things that it can do that are better than what we currently have?
It's going to meet everything that we have now. It will be better storage. It's going to be more room for us in the cab area to do our work back and forth between the scenes. And then, like I said, it's going to allow us to get more stuff to the scene in a timely fashion, which in certain instances could mean life or death.
Okay. Pump capacity, is there any improvement on that?
1,000 gallons and 1,500 gallons per minute pump.
Okay.
So,
Mayor, I think it's going to help with our ISO rating because the truck we have is really old, 22 years old.
I got to ride in both of them. I rode on Friday, and then I invited Janet, and Janet and I rode on Monday on the new one. On the other one, my neighbor was a reserve, and we struggle with this at my work. And so Chief and I had a lot of conversations. The first truck, I actually thought Shane and I went. So it had a lot of automatic ladder things that went down and automatic doors that opened. But then you think about it when we're out with these guys and it's freezing and it's cold. They said, "Hang on, how well is that door going?" Anyway, so they were explaining the differences, the amount of outlets for hose hookups. Number 75 needs to go into reserve. The reserve that Janet and I, that is actually in reserve now, is not a good reserve anyway. It needs to go. It needs to be put to sleep. So I was really appreciative, Chief, for you guys and Shane, and for everybody that. But seeing we struggle with getting things at my work on time. I know my husband just ordered buses and they told him 2 to 4 years. He needs them next year. So this is a good deal. I'm not sure. This is a good deal. It's a 21, right? The other one was a little older. The cab was amazing. I mean, it has the window. It has
22
or 22.
The other truck was early
20. Oh yeah, but the window they took away the split. Has the blind sides, the side windows. They were explaining all this to Janet and I when they let us cruise through town with them in it. It's just really. I mean, it was. I was blown away. Once again, I appreciate you guys letting Janet and I come down. But as far as a good deal, it really looks like it's a very good deal for the fire department.
I wasn't sure if we were going to get Janet off the top.
I know, she loved it. Janet loved going in the fire truck. They said, "You girls want to go for a ride?" I think we were the first two in the truck.
I'm sensing a little favoritism. I was not offered. I walked up in my dress pants. Okay.
No, I also think like the safety feature for the firemen when they're in the truck, like it just seems like they're going to be very secure. If you happen to get in an accident or hit, like that person is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, the
it
seats
just
were
seems
great.
very, and it's well lit inside. So if something does happen and you do need to do medical triage, like you can do it. There's enough room in that fire truck to make that happen too.
So I think my question was answered. But first of all, it sounds like you're a salesman. You did a pretty good job with these two. The second thing that was I was going to ask about storage, but it sounds like you have a reserve truck, and that the truck we have now is going to be reserved, and the other one goes away. So there's plenty of room to park everything, right? So yeah, okay, cool. All right.
I should mention that savings would be close to $150,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any challenges getting in and out of the new fire station with it?
Yeah. We actually want to move all our frontline trucks and bigger trucks to the new station and move the smaller trucks into the open portion, which will make everything fit.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it's really pretty simple. Fiscal year '24 starts in 7 months. And we've got $690,000 budgeted for a supposedly $800,000 truck that we can't get for 2.5 years from now.
Yep.
And we can do this for $600,000. It's a
And that's what
slam
did the
dunk
guy say?
decision for me.
Life expectancy was 20, 25 years, so right, so I mean, this will outlive, yeah.
It used to be an NFPA standard that you get a truck, it's gone after 20 years. Now it's kind of an NFPA best practice because a lot of the smaller departments, your little departments, they can't afford these trucks. And there's a lot of them running trucks a lot longer than 20 years, but that's not to say that that's the best thing. They're gonna cost you more down the line.
Right.
And some of the things that you're gonna be paying for, you're not gonna get your return for it because that truck loses value quickly after 20 years.
Sure, absolutely.
I also think it's important to note that the one that's in reserve right now, you have to take your, I don't know what you call, like your container and all that
Gear.
stuff off, and you can't put that in the cab with you. There isn't room where there's plenty of room for 6 firefighters
Yeah.
and additional equipment. So you're gonna have to probably take less other vehicles to get our personnel out to scenes, which I think
Well, I
is
even said when your
important.
reserves come in, right, because that's a good, because you can take several reserves in there with the, okay.
Other comments or questions? Okay, thank you, Chief. We have a motion of support for this.
So moved.
Second.
Once
Where'd
we
that
get to
voice
ride.
come from?
Now our voice
Squeaky
comes in.
earlier.
Other comments? Roll call, please.
Ocean,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Comfort,
Yes.
Strauss,
Yes.
Hermson.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item E, this is to consider an ordinance amending Chapter 13.08 of the Oskaloosa Municipal Code. This is for the public sewer system, and it is the first reading. And so staff's been working with Fox Strand Associates to review the city code in order to make changes necessary to facilitate fair and proper use of our sanitary sewer system, specifically for the industrial users of the system. Current code does not include several clauses and information which is considered best practices in other cities. Updating the code will add clarity for new industries which may be interested in doing business within the city. Code revisions in full, with the changes marked, are shown in the attached document that was with the packet. A summary of the effective changes includes, not limited to, so bullet point 1, clarifications and changes to definitions for industrial commercial wastes, industrial sludge, normal domestic wastewater, public-owned treatment works, public-owned treatment works treatment plant, and slug loads. Adding chapters for excessive discharge and accidental discharges. Rewriting chapters defining the city employee's right of entry and the restricted discharges and collection point for sampling. Updates to the user charges for non-domestic users and addition of a rate for oil and grease. Changes to methods for determination of quantity used. Adding slug load penalties for the extra strength penalties chapter and revisions to show infractions are applied. Removing the chapter on municipal infraction proceedings as it's now covered by other chapters. And finally, adding chapters on defining and procedures for significant noncompliance, revocation of discharge permit, and termination of sewer service, and emergency disconnection services. Staff is recommending the City Council approve the first reading of the ordinance. Do we have a motion approving that first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Second, or whatever.
Okay. Any conversation on this?
I got one. Sorry. Section, it's a new section. You got it open? Okay. 13.08031. Yep. In the paragraph, it talks about treatment to achieve a compliance within the limitations that contained in the federal regulations, I am assuming. Is that correct, or anybody know? No?
Pretty steep process.
We have Lori on the call. I'm not sure if
Oh.
you can hear her right now.
Lori, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, she's trying maybe or something.
So I can say that each industry operating within our permit, they'll have to submit maximum quantities that would be the permitted
Oh,
quantities.
that's fine, but in here it says federal standards. I was thinking maybe reference our permit.
Yes, our NPDES permit is under the
So-
Clean Water Act.
So on our permit, does it talk about discharge?
It'll set our limits.
It does talk about the discharge? What I'm getting at, could this paragraph reference our permit rather than the federal standards? The permit is off the federal standards, right?
True.
Okay, so in here, in the city code, couldn't we just add the city permit?
The city, the permit would be in a form of pre-treatment agreement that is subject to terms and conditions that we have with the DNR.
So do we know what federal standards follow this section on discharge?
That would be
It's just a blank statement, federal standards, which ones?
DNR.
It changes every time you get a new permit.
The standard gets updated, but there's a standard in general about
Well, that's the
discharge.
ones you usually
Hey,
want.
Kelly,
Can you speak in the
microphone?
Oh. I guess what I'm getting at is there
Yeah,
is,
generally, it's lower. It's like our nutrient reduction in Iowa isn't a set number, but it's 10% is what you have to see.
no, that I understand. I know things change, but there is a standard.
It's not a standard. Not every community doesn't meet the same standard.
Okay.
Every NPDES permit is tailored to your community. So the one's issued here, it's issued every 3 years. They're going to tell you what you can, how much they're on oil, what you discharge now.
So is there a federal standard out there that talks about discharge?
Yes.
Okay. In that standard, it's probably talking about certain limitations, things of that nature, right? And that changes time to time, right?
It changes every 2 years, but I've never seen a permit issue.
Okay, but still, there's a normal federal standard about discharge. So they update that probably every 2 years, let's just say.
Yeah.
What are those requirements are. What I'm saying there, you say federal standards, which could you leave, okay, can you put on there also our permit, which is in accordance with the federal standard, right?
Yes.
Okay,
So-
'cause if I'm reading this, I'm gonna go, okay, where's the federal standard? And it's not here, it just says federal standards. But if we reference the permit, because the permit is what they gotta follow under this code, right?
True.
So wouldn't we wanna reference our permit, which the permit follows the federal standard?
True. We can link the standards, and we can cite
Okay.
the sections within the
I
standard.
thought I just bring that up. I mean, you guys can talk it over, but that's just my suggestion.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Okay,
Great call.
that's all I had.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments?
Question I had, and I'm guessing everybody here already knows the answer, just not me, but the rates that are based, the user charging 1308,570, I know those are different from what they currently are. What were the new rates based upon?
We looked at some other cities.
Could you speak in the microphone?
Oh, yep.
Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, Lori.
Hi, Lori.
Finally.
Can you actually hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, that clause actually refers, that was a good question, and it refers to a specific category of agreement. It refers to the categorical pretreatment systems, and so that is not necessarily associated with limits. Certain facilities such as metal finishers, or if you manufacture a certain product, you might be a categorical, and then that's in the federal pretreatment regulations. For other users, meat packers, whoever, they have specific limits that you'll have in a DNR treatment agreement. So it's kind of that clause is kind of a special category for categorical users, not necessarily all industrial users. And right now, the city of Oskaloosa actually doesn't have any users under a categorical pre-treatment permit. Although we were recently checking some out with some of the industries, there are no no current users that actually fall under that paragraph.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
And then the rates, Sean, you were mentioning the rates.
Yeah. Yeah, so we looked at some of the other cities in the area and came up with comparable rates to what we're seeing, and I know Lori did a lot of that research for us to show us the kind of a demonstration of what kind of ranges they are. So our rates, once we're changed, will be on, we won't be at the top, but we'll be kind of in the range of other cities that are a little bit higher than what might be the median.
Thank you.
Other thoughts or considerations?
Well, on the rates, so we develop rates of, and compared to what other cities, what they do. Is that best practice?
The
I mean, that's
comparison
like-
to a similar size entity will place us where in the full picture how we compare to other communities.
Okay,
But
so-
ideally, it's based on our own cost, and I believe it's under that.
That's what
So-
I was hoping, because I really don't, sorry, care what other cities do, but what does it actually cost us? We should have support and documentation to what it costs us to process things in the city. So what other cities pay and what, but we should be looking at exactly what our cost is. And then set your rates.
I can speak to a little bit because these are your industrial surcharges we're talking about under the BOD, the TSS, and it's actually your other rates that went up, those have not changed, those haven't changed in over 20 years. Because to me, those should have been changed. And they said we're only 3% or 5% rate increase. Those should have been dealt with at the same time. Those surcharges should have been raised a like amount what you were charging residential customers for percentage increase.
Right, and that's fine, but I always like, I think it's best to look at what it costs us, what our rates is gonna be, and not compare with others. Because then you really don't have a true rate. You're just averaging things out, so we could be paying more, or we could be paying less. I don't know, it's just, I'm not a fan of looking at how everybody else is doing things.
We still want to stay competitive. We don't want to drive industry away and
Okay.
making higher.
I disagree with that, but,
Yeah.
okay.
But Lori, our consultant, she did that cost analysis, and she came up with an actual cost that is actually higher than the rate we put in the code.
Yeah, and we do recommend a cost of service study, like you were saying, to actually look at what the cost will be for the future plant and actually assign those. You can do rates a couple different ways. They can be just based on operation and maintenance, or you can incorporate capital costs. So we did recommend to the city to go forward with a cost of service study to look at what those rates should be for a couple different ways of, incorporating an actual cost of service for the future plant.
Because the rates are not really sitting well with a lot of people in the city of Oskaloosa right now.
You know what, Joe? I don't care.
Well,
I mean, the data that
That
we've
drives
seen, the
people to
data
move
we've
out.
seen, do I get a chance to talk?
Drag people out.
You spoke, now it's my turn. The data that we've seen over the last few months has suggested that we severely undercharged over the last few years. It's time that we started to charge what we ought to charge instead of what we have been. So I don't think we have anything here to apologize for, Joe. I just don't.
Apologizing.
And
I'm just
well,
stating
you're
the
saying that
fact here.
people are unhappy, so what are you suggesting? That we apologize to them because we've got to charge the right rate?
That's what you're saying. I'm just saying, when we make these rates, I want them to be true, accurate rates, not compared to other cities. What does it actually cost us to do water, sewer? That's all I'm saying.
We need to do a full-blown study to be able to pinpoint the actual cost.
Because it could very well be higher.
It could be. And if that's the
And
case,
if it
so
is,
be it.
then yeah,
Right.
we need to recoup some lost money. Steve's right.
It hasn't been managed very well the past decades, and I agree with you on that part.
But we want to address it sooner rather than later, so we will start with the best we can do right now. We will revisit this one more time when we have more data.
I appreciate the fact that we're reviewing the code and updating it to what we feel, to current standards, to what we feel based on the information that we have to the current rates. You know, not just because of the current industry that we have in Oskaloosa, but as we get closer to having the certified industrial site and future development, you know, just having everything updated for when those opportunities come, then we can speak with confidence as to what we're going to be dealing with, and what these potential developers, you know, I mean, it's just one of the things for them to consider as they come in. So there's a lot of motivation to be competitive. I think that's the importance of the comparing rates with other communities. I don't disagree with Joe. I don't disagree with Steve. I think they're both valid points. But I mean, we've got to make sure that we're competitive, but we've got to also make sure we're covering our costs. So I agree.
Okay. Other comments? Roll call, please.
Allman?
Yes.
Burnett?
Yes.
Scalageri?
Yes.
Comfort?
Yes.
Drost?
Yes.
Hermson?
Yes.
Ocean?
Yes.
Sometimes things.
Okay, that passes. Moving on, item F. This is to consider an ordinance amending chapter 10.52 of the Oskaloosa Municipal Code for a 3-hour parking restriction in the vicinity of High Avenue and G Street. It's the second reading. And so staff received a request from Anthony Christner on behalf of Christner Properties LLC for a 3-hour parking restriction in the vicinity of High Avenue and G Street. Currently, there's no parking restriction in the location. Parking restriction was shown on the planned unit development plan for 717 to 723 High Avenue West, which was approved by the City Council at the February 22 of 2022 meeting. Map showing the proposed location of the restriction and the results of a survey of surrounding properties was included with this item. Staff is recommending the City Council approve the second reading of the ordinance authorizing this. Do we have a motion of support for this?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Burnett?
Yes.
Scalageri?
Yes.
Comfort?
Yes.
Drost?
Yes.
Hermson?
Yes.
Ocean?
Yes.
Allman?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item G is to consider approval of a payment of $3,345 to SVPA. This is for services that are associated with the Early Childhood Education and Recreation Center. The invoices totaling that amount are for additional services related to the quality of construction issues with the swimming pool and delays related to the early childhood wing substantial completion. So SVPA, Water's Edge Aquatic, and IMEG are providing the services as needed on an hourly basis. This is in accordance of the AIA B101 standard form of agreement between owner and architect. Cost of some of the services may be charged back to the contractor per the owner-contractor agreement and the general conditions of the contract for construction. Do we have a motion of support for this payment?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Scalageri?
Yes.
Comfort?
Yes.
Drost?
Yes.
Hermson?
Yes.
Ocean?
Yes.
Allman?
Yes.
Burnett?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. It gets us to the end of the regular agenda. Reports from city staff, anything? Starting with the city manager.
Nothing. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
City clerk, anything?
No, sir, thank you.
City attorney?
Nothing.
Oh man, it's contagious around here. Okay. Let's start on the other side. Lisa, anything?
Yes, I will do another good, bad, and ugly for the community. Good, I am one of the 4 homes on the CEDA Christmas tour in that, which is just a wonderful event. I have gone on so many home tours. I thought it was finally one time to volunteer, okay? So if anyone wants to come help me dust or decorate. So that's the good. The second, my daughter has moved here. She's 27, so I'm seeing this town through a 20-some-year-old eyes. The rental situation in this community is atrocious, okay? So all sorts of things factoring in that. So I just cannot stress how much I have learned in the last week from that perspective. The ugly, I received a very ugly email to my account here titled "My Political Views" based on my running for representative. I've never once used this email for any other business, so I want to stress that. But it was very angry about LGBTQ views, and the only thing I said during all of this, even in print, was LGBTQ kindness. And now and that's also veered into what's going on in schools and the libraries and things like that. So I would, because there's been an article in the New York Times about the increased hostility at local meetings. And I like sitting next to the police chief. And I like when I go to other city council meetings, okay, in Mahaska, the sheriff is there or the deputy is there. And I can't tell you what a nice presence that is. But I think we need to be a little informed, you know, if something is like when I taught at a community college, what's your emergency plan? We're in a corner here. You know, what's your emergency plan if things get really ugly, not only at city council, but school boards, library meetings, and that. And trust me, it's out there. If the only word I said was kindness, and I'm getting that reaction, I think that's cause for alarm. So we have a very quaint community. I love a lot of the things we're doing, but there are other undercurrents that we should not be naive about.
Okay. Joe?
Nothing.
Charlie?
Amal, or whoever, city staff, the stoplight on the east side, far west side of town, blinking. What's the status of that?
Are you talking about the beacon,
L.
crosswalk?
L.
By Casey's.
By Casey's.
The west side of
Casey's.
Casey's.
Right
The
on
blinking
92.
between
On A
left.
Avenue.
I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Sean, you can.
Sean, you know anything?
Microphone?
He's not used to being on the line.
So the stoplight at L Street is the one you're referring to.
Yep.
Yeah, there's, at some point during one of our construction activities, it seems that there's some of the underground wiring is shorted or something along those lines. I know we had one of the electricians that we had that we used, that we've asked to go and look at it, and we're just having trouble getting them to get out there. So we are aware of it. It is a maintenance issue that we're working on. We're hoping to have it back to full function here soon, but I don't have an exact timeline for you.
And I actually talked to Grant about it, and he said that he was actually going to call someone else, because that was the problem. They said 2 to 3 weeks before they could be here. So I just talked to him a couple days ago. So he was hoping that I haven't talked to him since. He was hoping that someone else could come and take a look at that.
Right.
So yeah, it's a waiting game. I mean, for them. So.
Yeah, there's only so many people who do that kind of repair, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Got any black tape?
Anything else, Charlie?
Nothing.
Janet?
Yeah, I have a couple updates regarding community events. This last weekend was the turning on the lights, so thank you for all who participated, and they will be up until I think around the 10th of January, so please go enjoy those. Merry Little Downtown Christmas will be on December 2nd, that Friday evening, and then the Lighted Christmas Parade is December 3rd, Saturday, December 3rd. So just be aware that, you know, we will be blocking streets off and parking spaces around the square. So please try not to park around the square if possible, because we will ask you to move by about 4 that afternoon. And then we also have the Women's Holiday Luncheon on December 16th. So we have a lot of exciting festive activities coming up. So.
Okay. Bob?
I got 2 things. Number 1, thank you to our fire department and police department for participating in my son's senior pictures. So, you know, I mean, the senior picture experience, I think, is memorable for many people, but when you're downtown by True Value and you're trying to smile and the police and fire department show up, it's a fantastic deal. We got photobombed, and something he'll remember forever. So I saw the picture today. It's fantastic.
You'll have to bring it in, Bob, show everybody.
Sounds good. So thank you to you guys and your departments for being willing to step out in the community and have a little fun with these kids. So the other thing, on Friday, the mayor and I had an opportunity to be at MHP to serve lunch to the staff at the hospital. And we did that in cooperation with the Board of Supervisors. It was a good time to just have a group of community leaders there and serve our medical staff and do such a good job of providing those services to our community. So it's nice to have that opportunity. That's it.
Ron?
I'd just like to extend another thank you to Shane and Chief and Hoy and everybody for letting Janet and I come in and see that so that we can have an idea. We can relate it to you a little bit more than you just coming up and asking for $600,000. So no, it was great. When we both walked away, we had a different opinion than we might have had if we hadn't been able to come down. So I really thank you for the invite. I really do appreciate it.
Steve? C and North Market, when's that light going to get turned on?
Yes.
Go ahead. I mean,
same time.
Every morning, that's going to be. I'm excitedly waiting for that light to get turned on. So when's that going to happen?
I don't have an answer for you at this moment. I'll follow up with that with the contractor.
Okay, cool.
I don't know any reason that it can't be at this point, but
okay.
I just don't know where they're at with it.
And then my wife keeps asking me when Pizza Hut's going to open. So I just thought maybe somebody might know that one. So.
Would you like me to get the microphone?
Yes, please.
You can tell we're waiting for the Pizza Hut. We lead an exciting life, so.
You really want another Pizza Hut, your pizza place to open?
Well, sure, why not? Yeah.
So our understanding is we're doing the rough plumbing and electrical inspections that was completed last week. We're continuing to do the interior finishes. They're still hoping to turn the building over to the owner-operator by the first week of December and open by the end of the year.
Wow, cool.
Of course, they still have to hire staff as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a challenge too, right? So.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
There goes.
And then just a positive comment to the folks that are involved in the 3-lane. I know that I've read, so the cutest thing I saw was people felt sorry for the cones because they were smashed. but I mean, for the most part, I mean, it seems to be working quite well. I'm driving through town. I mean, I haven't seen the aforementioned, the people that were worried about the horrific chaos it was going to create. I haven't seen that yet, but it seems to be working very well. So I don't know what everybody else's experience is, but I've experienced nothing but good. So for all those involved, thank you very much. I think it's going to be a great thing.
Besides the dozen cones that ended up in Brandt's yard on South Market the other morning,
They're busy repainting it.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, very good. And just a word of thanks for all of the work that's done with the downtown, especially this time around Christmas. Oskaloosa has developed over the years a reputation for really doing the lighted Christmas parade right, the painting with lights. The culture of Oskaloosa really shines, and it gets a lot of attention statewide. And I've said this before, when you're the mayor of such a beautiful community, you tend to hear about it when you get out and about, especially in other cities and around the state. Thank you to everyone who contributes the heavy lifting and the time and effort and expense that goes into making such a beautiful event during this time of year. So, with that, let's see. Next item is to go into a closed session to consider holding a closed session under Iowa Code Section 21. I'm sorry, what?
Just real quick. First of all, thanks for the vote of confidence from the council on the truck. Secondly, as Janet talked earlier about the lights, I don't know how many times I was in Oskaloosa before I became fire chief, but I think I always took the far exit and went to Walmart and went on to Des Moines. Like this last Saturday, we went to the movie, and then after the movie, we drove around the square. And 20-25 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that was anything great, but in my middle 50s, that is really impressive.
Well, thank you, Chief. So, next item is to consider a closed session under Iowa Code Section 21.5.1.c, and this is to discuss legal strategy with legal counsel on a matter presently in litigation or in which litigation is imminent, where disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the city's position. Do you have a motion of support for this?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Comfort?
Yes.
Drost?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Ocean?
Yes.
Olive?
Yes.
Burnett?
Yes.
Caligari?
Yes.
Okay. So I think at this point I need to state that acting pursuant to the requirements of Iowa Public Information Board, I, Mayor David Kreutzfeld, state and indicate that this closed session to follow is to discuss strategy in a pending matter with David D. Dixon, the city attorney and legal counsel for the city of Oskaloosa, Iowa, acting pursuant to the contract existing between the parties. So we'll dismiss the audience, and thank you, everyone. We'll go into closed session at this time. Okay, we are back into open session. There being no further business to be done by this council tonight, do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
All right.